Hey guys, it's Katie here with Life Mundane and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm excited to show you guys our school routine and what is it like in the life of a homeschool mom and getting to see what my typical school day looks like with the kids, especially now with quarantine, things are a little bit different, and what does that actually look like. So let's get started. So we are gonna take you guys on what our typical homeschool day looks like. Obviously, it varies from day to day a little bit. We have different activities on different days. Some set days we do certain subjects. We alternate history and science and things like that. So you guys are gonna get a little peek into what our homeschool life is like. So obviously we're gonna start with breakfast. Usually we don't have this kind of breakfast, but right now we're doing school lunches in our community. So we had fun pancake bites and milk and fruit to go with breakfast this day. Are you guys excited about breakfast?
Yeah!
So a big part of my day is doing a lot of read alouds, and that's what we do during our breakfast time. If you kind of want to see what our days are like before breakfast, or really before we start our formal school day, because that's really what I'm showing you here, you guys can check out the video above to see our morning routine. But basically we started out by getting all the kiddos breakfast, and I do our read aloud. We are currently reading Mary Slessor, reading a missionary story that the kids are really loving. I can't recommend them enough. And so we just kind of do this time. It's very casual while we're eating breakfast. The babies are kind of up and down a little bit. That's pretty typical in our house. But yeah, we really enjoy getting to do these read alouds to start out our morning. Also, if you want to see other videos like this, with as far as what is it like for a day in the life of a homeschool mom, be sure to check out the playlist down below. And the Russell Loving Life is the host of this collaboration, so I'd love for you guys to check out their channel as well. After breakfast is all done, and after we're done reading our chapter in whatever book we're reading at the time, we typically move into our morning basket time. So our kids are gonna grab their hymnals, and we're gonna start out, we sing one hymn each month, and so we have an Easter one picked out for the month, and we're gonna sing that together and then jump into our Bible time.
Wash away my sins, nothing but the blood of Jesus. What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood of Jesus.
I think it's really important to note that it's not always pretty. As you can see here this day, my daughter was having a complete meltdown, and we deal with this differently depending on the situation and how it's done, but we just kept going today because we were worshiping and I didn't want to interrupt, and then we dealt with it afterwards. Next, we move into our catechism questions, and so we go through and we drill all the catechism questions that we've gone up to. We've gone up to about 42, I think, at this point. And that's something we do every single morning. You know, the kids, they like to move around, they wiggle, they wrap up in their blankets. And when we're doing read alouds, when we are doing our hymnals, when we are doing even our catechism cards, I'm okay with that. But when it comes time to read God's word, that is when we get serious about it. And you guys will see how we kind of handle that in our house. Guys, we are reading, what are we doing next? We're reading God's word. So that means we are not...
No pillows!
No pillows. We are sitting up straight. We are paying attention, right? Girls, drop the blankets and the pillows. God's word. So sit down. And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath and tried to persuade Jews and Greeks. This sounds familiar, doesn't it? Paul's usual practice was to go to where first? Where did he go?
The synagogue.
The synagogue, the Jewish synagogue, and do an apologetic for the Christian faith. This has really become one of our favorite parts of the morning, and it's taken time and it's taken effort, and it's still, we're working on it, on sitting still during this time, but we feel like God's word deserves that respect. If you guys would like to hear what we are doing for a Bible and a flip through of the curriculum you were using, definitely check out the link above or down below. It has been really such a blessing. It's very open and go, and I just love the fact that we are able to get into God's word, to study a book more in depth. But again, guys, wiggles, lots of going, you know. What I kind of look for is I look for my older kids to set a good example. I try to get my younger kids to sit as much as possible. You'll see they're sitting here better than they were earlier, but still not perfectly, obviously. But what we're looking for is not being distracting or destructive. And so, you know, a little bit of noise, I just read a little bit louder, and that's okay. But if they are getting to the point where they are getting out of control, then I might have one come and sit with me to get them to calm down, separate them a little bit, and just a little crowd control so that we're not distracting from what we're reading too much.
What time is it? Math.
So as you can see, we start out with math. We start with that because that is a harder subject. We try to get our more intensive things out of the way in the morning. And so everyone divides and goes and does different things. One of my sons goes and does extra math on the computer. That is a program to drill your math facts. And while he is doing that, then his sister is on another computer. I go in and log her in to get her started with her teaching textbook curriculum, which we are a huge fan of teaching textbooks if you're looking for math recommendations. We use teaching textbooks for the older kids, and then for under 3rd grade, we use math lessons for living education. And so right now I'm going to sit down and work with my daughter on her math because we have to do that one-on-one. Buttons and crossed off how many?
2.
And that left, how many left over?
1, 2.
2. So you're going to do that here. You're going to draw 6 circles.
I have to go get one.
Hold on, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need one more. Right there. Okay. 6. And how many are we going to cross out?
4.
So I don't have to sit with her for every part of the lesson, but there's usually an earlier section that she's struggling with that I'll work with her on, and then I'll walk away while she's doing her last section. My son, who was waiting, that extra math is only 10 minutes, so while he's waiting for his turn on the computer to do his full math lesson, he's working on pre-reading his lesson that he'll read to me later that day. And of course, the babies don't like to be left out, so while everybody else is doing their math, they like to go to the school closet and pick a math topic to work on. What are you getting?
That one.
Now, when I say they work on math, obviously it's not just math. Basically, we have a section in the bottom of our school closet that is toys specifically for the babies they can only get into during school hours, and they just call it their math time, and they pick something out of there. We've got little pouches of opposite cards, number cubes, letter cubes. We've got counting bears. We've got the little popsicle sticks that have different letters on it, but lots of options for them to play with. While they're doing that, my daughter was finishing up her math independent, and it is now my turn to work on breaking up fights. Stop, listen. Can we find a way to share? Okay, listen. We're gonna scoot this over. Okay, we're gonna put you right here in this chair. So for now, the crisis is averted. They will play at the table usually with whatever math item they chose, while I start to work with my daughter, again, independently one-on-one with her reading curriculum. We try to get all of her work out of the way before lunch as much as possible. It just works better for her, so we're gonna work on her reading. Oh, so open O says O, and OW can say O, and OA can say O, right? What does all of these in the tree? This is our ew forest, right? OO says ooh, and EW says ooh, and UE can say ooh, right? So her curriculum is actually a full language arts curriculum. So it's reading, writing, all of that, spelling. So we work on going over flashcards. We did our phonetic farm, as you could see, where we talk about the different phonics rules that we've already covered. We review a lot of that in the morning. After she's in her flashcards, we move on to doing a little bit of poetry and work on some reading fluency sheets, as well as working on our handwriting practice and doing some other work within that. This has been a really interesting program. It's through IEW. It's called PAL, Primary Arts of Language, and we've really enjoyed it. It's been kind of a lot to work with, but I'll do a review on that later, probably in the summer after we've gotten a little bit further with it. But yeah, we just kind of roll with punches and we do what we can. As you can see, babies are in and out, and that's just how my day works. But she's really enjoying it. Then she has some independent work time, as you can see. She has some worksheets that she can do on her own. She has some file folder games that she'll play on her own, and that allows me to transition to my next part of my day. And we're on the move again, because that's what I do all day, is I just bounce from kid to kid to kid to kid. So we're done with our intensive stuff.
with her. So now I can go and help any of the kids that are working on math that have gotten stuck on a problem. They save those problems to the end, and then I can come and help them instead of having them interrupt me every 10 seconds trying to ask for more help like that. Yeah, I'll help you in just a minute, okay? Okay. See you in a second.
So we just kind of take turns with the computer. So when the older kids are done with their math, they move on to their extra math and just take turns using this computer for that. I also want you guys to know I'm not against TV at all. As you can see, the 3 little ones were doing TV while I finished up doing the stuff with the older kids, and that's okay. Give yourself a little bit of slack, guys. My son is now taking his turn doing his math while I will start working with my oldest son on his reading instruction, which is all about reading.
All right. What?
I start with my oldest because, to be honest, he struggles in reading a lot. It is not the easiest or the most fun for him. And so we just kind of try and start there with him so it's just out of the way, because if we do it after lunch, it gets a lot harder. All About Reading has a lot of elements. It has a lot of fun games, which is really, really neat. But even then, it's still a hardship for him. He has fluency sheets, and just a little tip for those who do All About Reading. If your kiddo is one of those that just shuts down the second they see all of those words on the sheet, try using a die with them. Roll it, or let them roll it, and whatever number it is, have them read that many in that line. It has helped my kid so much, the ones that really struggle. I don't do it with the others necessarily, but for him, it's been helpful to get over that mental block. After I'm done doing reading with him, I'm going to do reading with my oldest daughter, and during this time, my son will start working on his typing program. We just use a Mavis Beacon typing program, and they love it, and I love the fact that it's very independent. We don't always get to it every single day, but they enjoy working on it, so I really recommend it. I really try to just kind of knock this out in chunks. It helps when everybody's kind of doing similar type things all throughout the day. And the kids know that if they're waiting on me for some reason, they just go straight to their pouches of activities that are in their drawers. I've done a video on that if you guys want to see what that looks like. But now I move to my next son and we start reading with him. I just find it so much easier to knock out Bible, math, and reading first thing in the morning, so that if your day gets derailed, then you've at least hit the most important things. Like, those are the things that I care the most about in our schooling, and all the stuff after lunch is more of a bonus work thing. Then the kids have their lunch break. They're gonna spend probably 45 minutes to an hour playing outside, running, eating, while I bring them lunch. When it's nice out, they like to eat lunch outside, which is what they did this day. But that gives me a chance to eat lunch inside, and then we're gonna move to our group subjects. So now it is time for history. Lunch is over. They've been playing outside, and it is time to get started with all of our group subjects. So let's get going. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we kind of alternate our history and our science. So today was a history day. We're using Story of the World. So I will read aloud to the kids, and they each have their own sketchbooks, history books. And as I am reading, they will go through and draw something that I am talking about and narrate that, write that down, whatever. This is my kiddo, and I swear, I have changed her 3 times at this point in the day, and she is still walking around in a diaper. Does anybody else have that problem? Like, let me know if I'm the only one. A little pro tip, when you're doing stuff like this with your kiddos or during these group subjects, don't get so worried about the wiggles. Again, as long as it's not destructive or uber distracting, let it go. They really pick up on a lot more than you realize, and sometimes having things to do with fidgeting with their hands or drawing can help them pay attention. I also recommend, if you're having our kiddos drawing, make sure that you give your little ones something to do as well, whether that's playing with another toy, or we just give our little ones sketchbooks, and they call it their science book and their history book, and they'll sit down and sketch, aka just scribble all over the page, or just hold it while they're listening. Next, we move on to grammar. Now, this is something we are going back and doing Grammar Galaxy. We had done it before. I felt like we needed some review, and so the kids do that on an audiobook. And while they're doing that audiobook, the babies and I usually spend some time together, whether that's folding laundry, they love to do that, or whether that's playing a game. But I'm gonna pour some extra energy into them because it's been a little while since I've been able to really spend a lot of time with them, one-on-one, where I'm not doing something else. So I just really try to feed into them. And then I come back in after the audiobook is done for Grammar Galaxy, and I go over the questions and we're doing that. We're not having them go through the workbooks. I'm just doing it verbally right now just because we've already gone through it before. But yeah, it's just been really good to review. Last in our day is spelling, and we're using All About Spelling. We're almost done. We're on the last few lessons. We review over our flashcards, and then I call out the words, and we're doing our spelling test today. While this is the end of our official school day, it's not the end of our learning. We spend our afternoons full of playing outside. We take walks. We do home ec stuff, cooking, cleaning stuff. We play. We do so many fun things. So it's definitely not the end of our learning. So yeah, that is our day. And I want to say that our structured learning time, what I've shown you guys today, is about 9 to 10 a.m. in the morning start time till about 1:30 in the afternoon. And then, like I said, there's lots of learning that happens afterwards. Actually, on this particular day was a Thursday, and so it's the day that my kids actually do a video call with their grandmother, and she reads to them. They're reading Little House in the Big Woods right now, and so they have that time together. We do exploring, we do extra science experiments, we've done educational videos, whatever it is. So we fill our afternoons with lots and lots of learning, but that is what sort of our structured school time looks like. If you guys want to see, again, like I said, our morning routine, check out the video right here. And if you guys want to see a video in the future of what we do after school, between school and like bedtime, drop that in the comments, and I can definitely work on making that for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I give you a few tips and ideas. We actually have a video coming up very soon about how our Sunday morning routine goes with doing church at home. So if you guys want to see that, be sure to subscribe, click little bell notifications to be notified when new videos come out, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.